Mark, one of the things that we see with Tintri is this quality service per VM. How is that achieved?
Another great question. So the interesting thing with the Tintri architecture is we have a whole raft of intelligent functionality that actually works in conjunction with one another to ensure fairness. So in the current flavour of a feature set, if you will, what we're looking to do is prevent bandwidth hungry virtual machines from starving out the resources of latency sensitive virtual machines. So there's a whole raft of features, but in essence the core functionality is controlled by something we call a resource performance manager. And what it does is it allows us to understand every read and every write that's coming into the system itself, which virtual disks they're coming from. And what we're able to do there is interleave different IOs from the different virtual disks, if you will, and ensure that we instill fairness across the environment. So if we see, for example, that there's too much I/O coming in, or a lot of I/O coming in from one particular virtual machine or one particular virtual disk, we can interleave latency sensitive I/Os into that stream. And we're able to do that because we do something called proportional scheduling. So for every virtual disk that runs on a Tintri device, we have the concept of a virtual output queue. And because we understand and we instantiate those queues on the fly, that really is the core mechanism, if you will. The other key aspect though is we track the working set for every single virtual disk at 8K granularity. So at any given point in time, the Tintri device has incredible depth of understanding of what the active working set is for every virtual disk within every virtual machine that's running on the Tintri device. And that, coupled with the way that the Resource Performance Manager is controlling resources with proportional scheduling, is how we actually deliver QoS.
Sounds good. What about later on? I know you're looking at putting together service groups. Will that be quite important, that quality service, when you move to that service group mentality?
Yeah, we're actually finding that we've got a growing estate of service providers that are using Tintri. So hosting providers where they're offering either managed desktops or managed virtual machines. And the whole idea here is really to be able to provide additional controls around the virtual machines themselves. So the construct of a service group is really to allow you to bring together or group all of the virtual machines that are required to deliver a service. So what we can do around that, apart from that grouping, is then start to offer additional quality of service capability. So we'll start to externalize the ability to configure certain parameters. So for example, you would be able to specify a minimum set of IOs, or a minimum IOPS profile for not just a virtual machine, but across a service group if you want to do that. But equally so, a maximum set of IOPS and a burst threshold as well. So you can actually provide and bias specific services or individual virtual machines against one another.
What's interesting is a lot of this doesn't seem to be talking storage. It talks about the application set and how that's delivered, rather than talking about bits and bytes on disk or on solid state drives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, businesses run on applications. The application is the most important thing, and the VM is the proxy for the application. So if you look at any Tintri device, there is no storage constructs to configure or monitor. It's all about individual virtual machines and the virtual disks and swap disks within those virtual machines.
Okay, thank you very much.